do like a book series. I love books, and I wanted to take some time and share some of my favorite books that have impacted me. As you step out into entrepreneurship, one of the things that you will have to master is leadership. And one of the things with leadership, you need to be really good at influencing people in a positive way. Yeah. So you're not only modeling um, by example, but you're also influencing them to be able to desire to even work on visions that God is putting in you, but also you're very invested in their own visions. And so I think that is one of the qualities of a great leader. They are not only invested in their own vision and the vision that God has given that has given them give given them, but they're also very invested, like really invested in the vision that the people that are helping them implement the vision, they're equally invested, and it's more of like a partnership. Like, I want you to grow in the areas that God has called you, and at the same time, kind of finding like a path that you can actually like serve, because this is the thing with vision: whatever you sow, you reap. So if you're sowing and sowing into other people's vision, God is going to send people to sow into your vision. So you want to uh, continue to impact other people's vision, so that God can also send you more people who are going to invest in your vision. As in, with the thing with the kingdom, there are certain principles that are just there. Whether you're a believer or not, like, these principles just remain. Whatever you sow, you reap. So I just wanted to share this book and some of the quotes. We're going to go through all of them. It has like 500 quotes. I love all of them. And I think as an entrepreneur, these are some of the things that I think are important. So we're going to be doing, oh, that's 50 videos. Let's do 10 at a time, yeah? Because some of these are deep. Some I don't have anything to like comment. They're just really good. And so the book, if you want to grab it, I'll put a link below and you can go get it. It's called The Language of Influence. And it's 500 Insights for Life and Leading by Scott Hagen. So I got this book like in 2014, and it's one of my favorite books. So I'm going to read something here that always blows my mind every time I read it. So it's called The Two Doors, yeah? So the most beautiful thing in life is opportunity. When the desire to do something meets the possibility of it to happen, the human heart comes alive. And that's why when you get a new idea and the possibilities of it, it's usually very exciting. And they call it, there's this graph that starts like this and then goes down. And most of the time, you start with an informed optimism, and you're here, you're excited about the idea, you're doing your research, and then you learn a little bit more, and you're like, oh, you get into informed pessimism, and most of the time, this is where people start quitting. You're like, this is not what I thought it would be. Yes, I'm still excited about the idea, but I have to overcome this. And so, guess what people do? They run back up and they start from scratch. And so, if you're able to push through the deep and come out on the other side, you get to a place where you are not just informed, but you're also optimistic about the idea. And so, just wanted to share that as a by the way. But let me read it again so that you don't lose track. It says the two doors. The most beautiful thing in life is opportunity. When the desire to do something meets the possibility of it to happen, the human heart comes alive. Opportunity, however, usually presents itself through two vastly different doors. You look through the first door and say, I can make this opportunity great. Why? Because you already possess what it takes to succeed on the other side. In other words, the opportunity needs you. But when you look through the second door, you see something far different. You see a much greater risk and say to yourself, I must become great in order to succeed. Always choose the second door. Through the first door, you bring who you are. But through the second door, you bring the potential of what you must become. I really love that quote. It has helped me make hard decisions this year. Even last year, I went from an industry that I knew for over 12 years and stepped into a completely different field that I had no credentials. Like, guys, I worked for a 7-figure company as a marketer. Like this year, that was what I did. Working for a 7-figure company with no marketing degree. The only thing I did was a nursing degree that I had. Of course, I also have a bachelor's in small business entrepreneurship. I've never used it. But I said yes to a role that I had to become great for me to stay there. I had to become great. And this was the 1 year that I spent a lot of money. I really invested in myself because I was like, if I'm going to lead marketing sessions and help this company and do the things that I believe I could do, I needed to have mentors. I needed to be on a learning journey. So I was learning on the go. And at the end of this year, just looking back, I am just in awe of what I'm like, what just happened this year? And to make it even amazing, I feel like I'm living my dream. Like, I always wanted to own a studio, but I was like, how do you even do that? How, my goodness, as in for those who own like physical locations and businesses, you know how expensive it can get. I can't even tell you, like, God has just been amazing to me, and I'm so grateful. Is it easy? Nope. Nope. I was actually talking to a friend and they were like, oh my gosh, you need to eat, you're losing weight. Yes, it's been stressful, but good stress. Because as in, the only way is up. There's no limit, there's no cap, especially when you're doing what God has called you to do. Of course, there's a lot that I've had to have like learned, as in, you know, it's one thing to have a gift, it's also another thing to know how to even run a business. And so I'm still on that journey. Those are two different things. And that's why, especially believers, you're like, you're gifted. Yes, there's no question about that. But do you know the fundamentals of running a business? Do you know how to do your taxes? Do you know how to talk to customers? Do you know how to onboard customers? Do you have systems in place? Do you have automations in place? Do you have systems that will work for you and not against you? And so I've had to like create all these things, and I'm still creating them. And then now the other thing is like, you can only serve as many people as you can handle. And so how can you multiply yourself? How can you teach others so that they can help you with this big vision that God has given you? And so I'm sharing this because this year I had the confidence to be able to make decisions not based on what I just knew, but I made decisions based and walked into doors based on the idea that I do not know anything and I will have to figure it out. And the mere fact that you have God on your side, I was able to figure it out perfectly. No, not at all. Not at all. But I did it, and I'll continue to do it. And so I think this is for anyone who is choosing deliberately the easy path and complaining that they're not satisfied and feeling lost and feeling like, you know, there's a thing that you can do. Like, you can do something so for so long that you're no longer like even an employee. You're like a robot because you know everything so well that you operate on automation. Like automatically, like your subconscious, like you go to work and your subconscious brain just takes over. And so that's why you get frustrated when something is moved, because there's a certain way that, because that requires effort. And so you're on automation, like you can close your eyes and go to work. And that's why sometimes you come back home and you're like, how did I even get home? How did I even get to work? Sometimes you get on that path, that the path that usually takes to go to work, and you were supposed to go to the store, and you find yourself going to work because your brain doesn't like getting tired. It puts everything on automation. And so, and this is where I love creativity, because it engages your conscious mind. And it's no surprise that God, in the first verse of Genesis 1, he talks about creation. In the beginning, God created. And so we're created in the image and in the likeness of God. We are created in the image and the likeness of God. We have his DNA. So he has called us to create too. And so and I'm gonna read the next quote. I know this was not the plan. I was gonna read this book for you guys, but I want to mention something that is so important. I believe that you need to be very faithful, and I'm talking to somebody who is working 9 to 5, yeah, or shift jobs, yeah. I believe that the reason why you're in that job is for two reasons. One, God is testing how faithful you are, especially when nobody is seeing. That's number one. And then number two, and I'll tell you why that is, yeah? And then number two, I believe that there are certain qualities that you should be looking out for. You need, especially if you're in a company that is very successful, you need to be looking out to like, how is this company able to be successful and run smoothly? Like, start asking those questions. How are they able to recruit employees like me? You know, how are they able to create systems that work, that they can hire someone and put them into the system, and this person is able to deliver the same kind of standard of work or even better than you? You start thinking like that, then you need to start using this resource, the money that you're getting, this stability, this season of your life, and start investing in the things that God is calling you to do. And if you do not know what you're called to do, I have a tool that is able to help you, and I'll be running some workshops. So I'll put some details under this video that you can sign up. I'll be doing a workshop before the end of the year, so look out for the information below here, and sign up if you do not have any clarity on what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah, but if you already know, you want to start making the steps and start investing in that, so that at any one time when your season ends in that place, you're able to transition smoothly to another place, yeah, or into another role. The other thing that I would really encourage someone, if you are having to work a second job, I would really recommend you that your second job, to, even if you're not going to make much, let your second job be somewhat related with what you want to eventually do. So I'll give you an example. So let's say I'm a nurse. Yes, I go work 3 days or 4 days a week. Yeah, then I want to make some extra money, but I would love to get into photography. I would go find a company that is hiring photographers. You might not make the amount of money that you're making as a nurse, but you want to get yourself into that environment and be a student and be very faithful and be a student and observe. See the system, ask questions, learn the systems, learn how that business is ran. So that if one day you're like, okay, let me step out now because I've been getting enough clients, I have systems and all that stuff, like it's much more easier if it's the thing that you always wanted to do. So anyway, that's hopefully that's valuable information. So I will read the first one. I don't want to make this too long. So we're at 15 minutes. We have to stop at 20. So the first question. There are two types of leaders. Those who love power and those who love people. I know, yeah? I know. And it's so easy to identify this. And I think it's so important to know that we're here to serve. The Bible talks about the greatest of you all will be the one that serves. And he models that when he washes the disciples' feet. As a leader, your role is to serve. It's not to look for power. And it's so easy to, like for me, I can tell easily when a leader is just after power other than loving people. That's the ultimate goal, even for you. And this will show when the way you talk about your leaders. If you ever want to be a leader, just watch the way you talk about your leaders. Will tell you, you know how people say like, if it was me, I would do this. Yeah, that's power. If it was you, you're like, okay, in a place of power, this is what I would do. No, pray for them. Have a conversation with them. Talk to someone who can talk to them. If you're scared of losing your job, anonymously write a note and push it to them. Yeah. But don't be having this conversation of like, oh, these leaders are what? No, pray for them. Pray for them. Start loving people. If you can't love your leader, how are you going to be a leader that loves people? Yeah, it's not possible. All right. The next one. You cannot hide your heart. Whatever fills, spills. You cannot hide your heart. Whatever fills, spills. The Bible talks about out of the abundance of your heart, the mouth speaks. So if you ever want to know someone as a leader, or just because we're all leaders, yeah? Just listen to them. The problem is we love talking. We love talking a lot. But if you take time to just listen, you will hear things that they're not even saying. Even better, if you get really good at asking good questions, people will reveal themselves to you. And this is the tricky thing though. You also want to be very careful that you don't end up being very judgmental, because you can listen and hear things that you're not supposed to be even hearing. And I'm saying hearing in terms of like your mind starts messing up with you. So judgment, for you to be able to hear well, you can't have judgment with you because you're not going to hear well. Everything that you're going to hear will be through the filter of judgment. And so you'll have this false perception of people. Yeah? All right, let's go to the next one. I love this book. I think you should all get this book. It's a really great conversation starter for anyone who's building anything, yeah? The next one is the attitude is always louder than the answer. Sometimes I always tell my kids, like, your face is speaking louder than even your silence. And sometimes we don't realize that you could be saying something, but I can see your face is completely off. Like you are in a different zone, like you don't even believe what you're saying with your mouth. And so these are heart issues. Like if you're going to say something, it has to be true for your attitude not to mess you up or sell you out. Like it has to come from your heart first. So if you're trying to lie, if you're trying to not speak the truth, all the whole truth, I'm telling you, like your face, and I know there are some people who have poker faces, but if you're really good at designing and reading people, you'll be able to see through them. because their attitude speaks louder. And then this is the other thing, like there are people who are like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine, but your attitude is not saying that you're fine with that decision, you know? All right, let's go to number 4. Criticizing someone is how the underachiever compliments himself. Ouch. Ouch. Criticizing someone is how the underachiever compliments himself. As in, if you've ever criticized someone, it feels so good. You might be angry, but it feels so good. And that's why sin is so hard sometimes. You need to constrain yourself. You need to stop yourself. You need to capture these thoughts and make them obedient to the word of God. You can't do this by yourself. And that's why we have the Holy Spirit. You need to stop this. If you can't say, our pastor was saying this the other day, if you can't say anything, let me remember how he said it. He was like, in the absence of someone, always speak good about them. In their presence, have that conversation with them. Just tell them, hey, you did this and I didn't like it. But whenever they're not around, man, that guy, I am not where I am if it was not for him. Like you can find something good. An enemy was once a friend. There was something good that they did. In the absence of your enemy, and that's why the Bible says, keep them close. Love them. So when they're not in sight, speak good of them. I think that was the best, and I think I'll put a link of that somewhere. It was a Thanksgiving message. I think it was last Sunday. It was so good. It was so good. In the absence of people, speak good. Let practice, and this requires practice. You need to practice saying good things about people in their absence. And in their presence, because we do the opposite. In their absence, we talk bad. In their presence, we're like, yeah, we're fine. Really? Really? You guys are fine? For real? And then in their absence, like, yeah, that guy, just forget him. And I promise you, if you had that they were like behind you, you'd be like, shoot, why did I say that? That's the Holy Spirit convicting you. And I'm telling you, you will have a peaceful life. Start practicing this. It's the best thing ever. All right, next one. Think twice. I can't spell this word. I can't pronounce it. Severing, Severing. Yeah? A valued relationship because a piece of you will be living with them. What do you guys think about that? I think I read that it's easy to reconcile with an old friend than to build a new friend. Just because a part of you goes with them. You know, I don't know how I feel about this because because you build memories, I'm curious. Write in the comment what you feel about this. You know, I don't want it to be like bondage that now you're in a toxic relationship that you have to stay in it because a piece of you stays with them. I don't think that's what they are talking about. But yeah, and that's what they're saying, a valued relationship. So if you define that relationship was valued, had value, then keep it. Don't end a friendship just because of some minor misunderstanding. Like, we always say this, adulting is for grown-ups. Yeah, so not for kids. So I think there's a level of maturity where you're like, you know what, this is a valuable relationship. I'm not going to let it go just because we had a simple misunderstanding. We're humans. And of course, there's some things that, you just part ways with, but there's some relationships that you just fight for. Yeah? All right, number 6. Oh my God, we are 24 minutes. Number 6, we imitate who we admire. So be careful who you admire. Be careful what you're watching, what podcasts you're listening to, YouTube videos that you're listening to, songs that you're listening to, the people that you're surrounding yourself with. Because, and this is where they talk about like, show me your 5 friends, and I'll kind of even estimate how much you have in your bank account. Yeah. I prayed this prayer a few, like it was a year ago, and I was like, God, I need some millionaire friends in my life, man. You know? And I'm so grateful because he brought them in very in ways that I never even thought, yeah. Because that's where we're heading, yeah, yeah, right. I hope you're trying to make some millions, yeah. Not for your glory, but to be able to impact lives, yeah. I think that's one of my deepest desire. Like I enjoy serving, I enjoy helping, I enjoy seeing the kingdom of God being advanced. And so it bothers me when I have an opportunity where I can help, but I don't have the resources to be able to do that. And so, you also want to check why you want to be a millionaire, because God checks the heart. Are you wanting millions so that you can have a fancy house? And there's nothing wrong with that. Fancy cars, show off, or go on vacations. As in, it has to be more than that. So you want to first check, why do you want to be a millionaire? That should be the first question. Not saying I want to be a millionaire. Why do you want to be one? And you have to get real with it and not just say things to say, like really mean it. That's what you want. And then God has no reason to not give them to you because he trusts you to be a good steward of the resources that you are asking for. Yeah. The other thing is number 7, discovering something new is good. Rediscovering something lost is better. And this touches to the friendship part that I was talking about. It feels good to find something that was lost. And that's classic of Jesus. He's like, I lost this sheep. I am willing to leave all these 99 and go after the one. It feels good to bring back something that was lost. And so, interesting. I'm curious what you guys think. Number 8, arrogance is worse than ignorance. Ooh. They call them pet peeves or whatever they call them, like, and is that even the right word for this? I can't remember. I don't know. But something that I don't like, oh my gosh, God help me, an arrogant person. And let me say this, sometimes we confuse confidence and arrogance. So somebody who's not confident will see somebody confident and think it's arrogance. And so there's a difference. So first you want to check, are you a confident person? Because you're going to see people who are confident and think it's arrogance. And it's not. And I don't know how to explain what arrogance is. But there's something about it that you're like, okay, that's not just somebody who's confident. That's just somebody who is just showing off. Not showing to inspire you, showing off to almost like irritate you. And for some reason, I don't know why, most of us are attracted to arrogant people. Like there's something that keeps you glued to them. Like you'll be so frustrated at what they are doing and even share their videos with someone else. And you really know, like, man, this person irritates me. But you're constantly watching them. I can't explain. I don't know if you guys have experienced that. You can comment below. Number 9, the mission of a leader is to make complex things simple. It's never to make simple things complex. Oh my gosh. When I read this spoke to me. I'm the kind of a person that I will see something and in my head is like, how can we make it? And in my head, I'm thinking like, let's make it more valuable. So in the process, you make it so complicated. And I did a workshop by Donald Miller. He has this brand called Brand Stories. And one of the things he talks about is simplifying things. And this is a message that I was constantly, like one of my mentors this year constantly told me this, like, Francis, you need to make things simple. Stop making things complicated. And I really struggled with that. I really struggled with it. So this is personal for me. I am still on that journey of like looking at all my offers and looking at my website and looking at even how you speak to people. Like, you can have a simple conversation with someone and make them feel overwhelmed. And people have told me that, like, not in a bad way, but just having a conversation, like, it just leaves them overwhelmed. They're like, oh my gosh, like, you just told me so much things, like my head is full. And you need to catch yourself. I'm catching myself. And it requires like asking good questions and keeping quiet. This often affects people who love to talk. So for me, I don't necessarily love talking, but if you touch topics that I enjoy, like if you start talking about content creation and marketing and strategy and brand strategy, like, yeah, I can talk like 10 hours talking nonstop, just because I'm so passionate about this. Um, but I need to be careful. You need to be careful as a leader. You need to listen more than you're talking and act more than you talk, because your actions speak louder than your words. So this is one of the things that I'm working on. And as a leader, as a business owner, as an aspiring business owner, as an employee, you need to make complex things simple. Your value is not making simple things complex. No, that's not your value. That's not where you find your value, okay? Number 10. Oh my gosh, we have 32 minutes. Great leaders pay attention. Poor leaders seek attention. Great leaders pay attention. Poor leaders seek attention. I have no comment for that. You can comment below. I thank God for Scott Hagen. Thank you for writing this book. It's been a blessing. It's been a blessing. Yeah, so go get it. If not, we'll keep talking about it. But yeah, hope this was valuable to you. Please subscribe to this channel, and I will be sharing my whole entire journey, my business journey, and on the road to help a lot more people identify who God has called them to be. That's my whole mission. I do all these other things, but my assignment here on earth is to help people who feel lost, confused, who feel like they lost everything, and help them understand what God has been doing all this time. I had like a burning bush experience in Exodus 6. I always try to find my story in the Bible. And when I read Exodus 6, that was it. I saw a man who was in the wilderness, and God showed up, and he gave him a message, and he told him his people, and he gave him a message on what to go tell his people. And so I feel like I'm having a burning bush experience where I'm not in the promised land yet. I'm in the wilderness, but I'm not in slavery. I'm not in Egypt. And God is calling me to go help bring his people out of Egypt, and to trust him that he's going to guide us to the promised land. But I'm reading this, and that's why I've incorporated this in my YouTube videos, to know that you need to work on your character, because you don't want to be left out of the promise, like what happened to Moses, because of not being a great leader, he allowed anger and his frustration with the people that God had called him to rescue them from bondage. He got irritated. And instead of speaking to the rock, he struck the rock twice. And that was it. He misrepresented Christ. He misrepresented God to his people. And he was like, you're not going to the promised land. You're going to see it, but you're not going to step into it. And I don't want you to be that leader that is able to lead people to the promised land and not experience it. So this is more than just making money. This is an assignment. And so if you're interested in knowing your assignment, I have tools and resources and questions. I do brand strategy sessions. I'll put my links below. You can book a one-on-one session. I'll be doing a group session, as I mentioned before, and helping you guys. And I also have a tool that you can do it by yourself. So I'm going to leave all the links below. And yeah, God bless you. Take care until the next one. I'm excited about this. Yeah, so we'll have a session. We'll be learning everything leadership, because you have to be a leader if you are going to start your own business. All right. God bless you. Take care. Bye.